So after Junaid would get rejected by these girls, Junaid would then ask me to help him scam these girls into first sleeping with me, followed by then sending them around to law enforcement and their BFFs, like Junaid and Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer spokesperson drug addict, not realizing that these are other people's daughters, that these sex addicts like Junaid and drug addicted sex addicts like Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer spokesperson, last asked me on July 22nd at 8:49 a.m. So basically, Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer spokesperson's also been asking me as well, and he asked me this morning as well to help him basically scam these girls. Yeah. So this is the ad for the Caribbean that he put up on there 8:49 a.m. this morning, and it is that Caribbean ad right there. And then also another one for Florida this morning 8:40 a.m. to try to get me to scam these girls for him. Like, I'm not doing this. But okay, so want me to scam into sleeping with me and then sleeping with these other people, like, the last time Junaid and Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer spokesperson, threatened to take oil out of my car was July 21st, 2026 at 6 p.m. Basically, like, these people think that they're, like, really, really cool and that, like, you could just go and, like, sleep with some girl and, like, scam them and then pass them around like you're some really cool guy or something like that, when in fact, that's not true, man. The girls are looking for a husband who could provide for them, and it's just wrong to, like, just use them up and then just be like, hey, you want to go sleep with someone else? Like, you're not that cool. I'm not that cool. Okay, these girls are not that stupid, and they're someone else's daughter, and, like, I'm not doing this. It would just be wrong, you know. It's like going into a restaurant, eating the food, and it's running out. It's just not right. That sounds really embarrassing to do, but, like, I'm not doing this. It's just wrong, and that's what they that's what they want me to do. Like some really slick guy who's got, like, really good talking ways. He just goes and, like, tries to talk the girls into sleeping with him and then has them pass them around. Like, I don't need to do that. Like, after my brain salon gets freed, I just go get married, and, like, yeah, I'm just gonna, like, stay in the basement and study all day anyways. Like, I'm not sleeping with anyone. What is wrong with these people? But yeah, so yesterday, obviously at 6 p.m., it was a Jiffy Lube ad that they used where both of these sex addicts were threatening to take out oil out of my car if I refused to help them scam other people's vulnerable daughters by first sleeping with them, followed by then passing these girls around, these sex addicts and drug addicts. Basically, Ibrahim is a drug addict who uses street drugs, like crystal methamphetamine, and then he would overdose on it and then end up in the emergency room once a week. He basically just wants me to help him scam all these people. Like, what is wrong with you? You know, yeah, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. And so, yeah, the Jiffy Lube, let me show you where Jiffy Lube is. Yesterday, and that was Jiffy Lube. Anyways, yeah. So then again, on July 22nd, Junaid once again advertised with the pet store ad. I already showed that in the starting, where he used to get pet food for his cats, followed by the Chevrolet Let's Drive Together ad, also this morning, only to try and say that he was once again feeling a rush of his sex addiction, due to which Junaid once again, after only yesterday at 6 p.m., yesterday was July 21st at 6 p.m., telling me that he was going to take out oil out of my car, followed by once again this morning at 8:31 a.m., July 22nd, 8:31 a.m., was saying that Junaid wants me to help him scam other people's vulnerable daughters. So it's like an ongoing cycle of where he would get, like, threatened to have the police call on him, and then he would come and ask me to go scam the girls. And then afterwards, he would threaten to, like, take out oil from my car or do something, like break my car or something. You know, it's just a little odd. Like, this behavior is really weird. First of all, this is not my specialty, okay? And second of all, it just seems a little wrong to be doing this in the first place. I have no plans on doing this even after my brain savant gets freed. Obviously not. After my brain savant gets freed, obviously, after like a month or so, after I get my first work done, I'm just gonna get married and live off the rest of my life, just like studying in the basement and just living my life like that. Like, this like this thing is just, it's not my thing, and it just doesn't seem like normal behavior, because these girls, as nice as they might try to seem like, and they're not sexually frustrated. These girls are basically looking for a husband that could provide for them. You have to understand what is really going on over here. Yeah, they might be advertising in a certain way, but that's what they're basically asking. Like, after your brain savant gets freed, can you be my husband, sort of thing. It's not like, yeah, it's not what they're thinking it is. It's really not. Trust me. You have to be a little mature about this. These people are really weird, I have to say. By first me sleeping with the passing them around to other perverts. Like, all right, so let me just read this out real quick for you. So yeah. July 22nd, 8:31 a.m. was saying that Junaid wants me to help him scam other people's vulnerable daughters by first me sleeping with with them, followed by me passing them around to other perverts like Junaid and Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer spokesperson, drug addicted sex addict. Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer spokesperson, drug addicted sex addict, was also asking me this morning. So I already showed you that one, July 22nd at 8:49 a.m. with the sandals ad to help him scam these girls into being passed around from one person to the other for their sex game. Like, I would like tell these girls, like, stay away from them, and I'm not gonna do this, first of all, and just stay away from them. It's just really weird. Like, who do I look like to you? And no. Okay, these people, Junaid and Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer, drug-addicted sex addict, need to understand the fact that threatening to take out oil from other people's cars after breaking my car already after May 25th, 2026. So basically what happened was, Junaid was running after my elementary school teacher, and like really running after her, like really, like all day, every day. And he was just like, can you sleep with me, sleep with me, sleep with me? And she would just like, I just asked him to come to me after your brain savant gets freed, have dinner with my family, and tell us about what this brain savant thing is really. Like, after it gets freed, obviously, then you have stories to tell, whereas right now you have none. Yeah, it's like no one was expecting Junaid to like get the contact info from law enforcement and just keep asking her, until her son, who's only about 2 years younger than me, ended up calling the police on him. And then after that, Junaid ended up having law enforcement break the front under part of my car, break the fire stick and charging outlet, which is a crime, especially when the motive for these crimes are clearly stated by the criminals, being that I am refusing to scam other people's vulnerable daughters into sleeping with everyone, when I have already told them that I have no interest in this immoral behavior or to scam anyone's vulnerable daughter living alone into any sex scams. And yet the same ads that have been used to threaten to break my car, Jiffy Lube, Pep Boys, are still being used to threaten me, followed by then asking me again, morning of July 22nd, of scamming these girls that are other people's vulnerable daughters living alone into sex scams, followed by then passing them around to people like Junaid and Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer spokesperson, drug addicted sex addict. These people like Junaid and Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer spokesperson, drug addicted sex addict, need to understand the difference between what is and is not a crime. If one of law enforcement's own BFFs said anything even remotely considered bad. So now I'm going to describe the talking point that Junaid basically is being given by law enforcement, compared to the crime that Junaid is committing by breaking my car, my fire stick, a charging outlet, things of that sort of nature. Now, Junaid might try to claim that my sister paid for my car insurance for a while, but that has nothing to do with it. What happened was, like, last year, my sister paid for my car insurance for a little while. She used to pay $30 for my car insurance and $25 for my cell phone bill, and the reason she did that was because she would take that money, like, she works herself, she does really well, she earns like a 6-figure salary, and so basically I would pick and drop my mother, and what would happen is, instead of charging my sister money for gas every single time and harassing her, and I would pick and drop her kids whenever she'd be at work or traveling for work, and instead of asking for money every time, she would just pay $30 for my car insurance and $25 for my cell phone bill. That's $55 total a month. She did that for a little while, and then now I just pay for my own car insurance. She just pays for my cell phone bill, and in exchange, I still take care. I still pick and drop my mother off from her house and back, and I don't charge her any money. So that's basically what happened. But that's not why, or that's not an excuse for breaking my car, threatening to do so, or breaking my Fire Stick from my TV or my charging outlet. All right. So yeah. So basically, what I'm going to describe next in this journal is the fact that breaking my things is a crime, whereas anything that anyone of law enforcement's BFFs could have said around me as a child would not be a crime. Definitely not on me as a child. It would only be a crime for that person who could have said anything bad, if it would be. So it's not a crime, even if they said something bad, unless if it's what my dad, the Greedy Famer, was doing in 2011. That would be something that's considered a crime. So I'll explain that shortly in detail. What it is that wouldn't be a crime, but that is the only talking point that has been given to Junaid now, since there's nothing else. All the false testimonies have all been caught. November 20th, 2025, early January 2026, early April 2026, they were all based on evidence. Their evidence was there. It was just fabricated evidence. So there was a crime inciting for November 20th, 2025. It was fully fabricated. It didn't exist. Right now, Ibrahim, the Greedy Famer spokesperson, is also giving another false testimony right now. Everything is fabricated again. You'll find out shortly. But yeah, he's doing it one more time. And every single time he gets caught with fake evidence and then falsifying statements around it, the court would be like, "You're caught. It's a lie." He would just be like, "All right, well, fine. That was the third time I've gotten caught. Here's the fourth one." And then he just goes on to the second one. Like, first one was November 20th that his own mother did, and then they just went on to the second one. They're like, "All right, fine. The first one was false, but here's the second one," and then they aggressively push the second one forward really aggressively. Then the court should be like, "We know that this is also a lie because your mother confessed to the government informant that she was planning on making these lies. Now you're telling those lies to us." And then he'd be like, "Oh, wait. So all right, well, that was the second one. Here's the third one." And then the third one, they'll push forward really aggressively. And then they'll push it really, really aggressively. And then what ends up happening is, in the end, the courts would be like, "All right, fine, we're going to retrieve phone conversations." When they do so, then it's found out that every single statement surrounding that false testimony for the third time is also false as well. Then he'd just be like, "All right, fine, the third one was false. Here's the fourth one." Like, they just keep going on and on. Like, that's not how it works, It's just 3 times you're out. You can't just get a million tries of getting more and more lies. You get caught with a lie, then you're like, "All right, fine, that was a lie. Here's the second one. All right, fine, that was a lie. Here's the third one. All right, fine, that's a lie." And then they'll just be like, Ibrahim, the Greedy Famer spokesperson, would just be like, "Here's a fourth one." That's just not how courtrooms work. You can't just keep doing that over and over again. And this is literally the 4th time. First time was November 20th, 2025 that Ibrahim's mother made. He knew about it and he never reported. Second time was early January 2026. Also had evidence to it. Evidence was fabricated again. And it was already confessed to the government informant as being fully fabricated and that they were planning on making these lies against me. And then they're like, "All right, fine, that was a lie. Here's the third one." And third one was early April 2026. They pushed this forward very aggressively. In the end, the courts are forced to retrieve phone conversations only for them to find out that even the third time is a lie. And now they're like, "All right, fine, that's a lie. Here's the fourth one." And now they're trying with the fourth one. And obviously this is going to be a lie again. Person that lies and exaggerates the entire time is lying and exaggerating right now. That's not really a big mystery. But yeah, he's going to be acting like Freddy Krueger right now. He's trying to scare everyone with these lies and fabrications. But you have to understand that this has already happened before. No one was able to smile on live TV for days after November 20th, 2025, because that was a false testimony. It had a crime inciting. They scared the crap out of everyone in there. Early January 2026, they scared the crap out of everyone over there as well, only for us to find out that these were planned lies that were already told the government informant. Then, early April 2026, more lies. They made them, there was probably evidence there as well. Evidence was fully fabricated and exaggerated. The courts found out through retrieving phone conversations that every single thing that these people said for the third time was a lie again. And now they're just like, all right, fine, that was a lie for the third time. Here's the fourth one. They just keep going on and on. That's not how courtrooms work. You know, you can't just keep lying and exaggerating and fabricating over and over again. Well, anyways, the only thing that's left now is after all their lies and fabrications are found out, like, these are just my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters. Law enforcement has their own. Like, they took a 10-year-old child from my elementary school and had him claim 25 years later in mid-January 2026 that I said anti-government things to him when I was a 10-year-old child. So, yeah. Yeah, so law enforcement had their own fabricated false testimonies, basically. Yeah. So the only thing left now is to claim that when I was a child, and the war occurred when I was an 11-year-old child in 2001, that someone might have said something bad around me, who would be law enforcement's own BFF, not my mother, and that it would be my fault as a child that this person said this around me as a child. Well, this part of the journal explains that. Okay, and that would be law enforcement own BFF, and my mother had already gotten permission from law enforcement for me to be there in the first place. Okay, so the next part of the journal would describe that shortly. Give me 1 second.